There it is.
Thank you. Recording in progress. Everyone beware. I love how that is so prominent now.
Yeah.
But welcome to our new product webinar. We are so excited to show you the brand new tool that we've created for you. And I'm just gonna share my screen and we can start talking about that. Phil and I were just talking a moment ago, the pandemic has provided a lot of opportunities to really sort of dig in and work and think about things and, do things that we've never done before. The luxury of working from home and having a little extra time and, being able to get up in the morning and work on something exciting has been tremendously helpful during this stressful time. And the BI suite was developed all during this time, and all this work has happened, since the pandemic. So this is pretty exciting stuff. Before we jump right to the tool, I just wanted to give everybody a little view of how we got here and how we got to the BI suite and how we got to these particular tools that we're showing. Somebody was trying to send me a message. Okay, so let's get started. So when we developed FIRMSCAPE back in 2012, it was a reporting program unlike any other that was on the market. And for the very first time, we really dug into our proprietary attorney history, and we were able to deliver accurate reports on the movement in the market, the changes in law firms, and show some historical patterns overall. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of thinking outside of the box, and it really has proved to be invaluable to our clients. And data like this was just not available anywhere. It was a different type of data. It was curated by our team over years of work. It wasn't based on surveys. It wasn't based on firm input. This was all of us going in there and getting that information about the firm, about the attorneys. And it really delivers a non-biased look at the firms and the market itself. Sort of, we like to say, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. The historical patterns show, what has happened in the very recent and in the far-flung past, because you can go back and run reports from many years ago. And you get a great market overview for both the past and present. You get growth decline measurements in law firms. You get lateral information, basic ROI numbers. And then the FIRMSCAPE report itself can identify firms of interest with very specific criteria. And nothing like that has ever been developed outside Leopard. And that is one cool report. These reports measure what has already happened or what is happening in the market today. And we hope, we had hoped that to give a roadmap of what will happen. But that forecasting using FIRMSCAPE is basically up to the user to figure that out, to use that data to forecast what might happen. And we wanted to make that a little bit easier. And we wanted to use AI to formulate what we think might happen in the future, as well as answer questions our clients wanted answered easily and provide it in more of a graphical format. So BI technologies, they typically provide historical, current, and predictive views of business operations. And that was our goal. That was our focus with this whole new suite of reports. Analytical processing, analytics themselves, complex event processing, business performance, benchmarking, predictive and prescriptive analytics, all should be expected, to be involved within a business intelligence product. And while the data in FIRMSCAPE really gives us the bones to these processes, FIRMSCAPE still required researchers just to dig in there and find the answers for themselves. And we wanted to do something a bit different. After all, we're the ones that really know our data the best, right? We know what everything means. We know maybe when something went wonky, but we really can read our data like nobody else. So therefore, we should read the data. We should be able to do some forecasting. We should be able to put together those analytical processes and not require, somebody at a law firm to be a data geek to kind of comprehend everything in FIRMSCAPE and then put it all together. So the more we began to understand how law firms were using FIRMSCAPE data, the more we realized that we should answer their questions more fully and more easily. There really should be no need for them to going through all kinds of spreadsheets and looking at history and counting and doing stuff. We wanted a program that would help them get the answers that they needed much more quickly and easily. We also wanted a program that could actually help firms make better decisions and to help them in risk assessment. So that was really our goal. So to create it, we first said what we wanted to do, and then the next question was, well, how do we do that? There were just so many points that we had to consider to really achieve all these goals. And we just needed the ability to spin really complex queries within seconds, to judge the past, and create patterns for future behavior, to estimate risk, to measure success in multiple ways, from the attorney to the firm to the corporate level. We had to string connections in a way that had really never been done before, and measure and count and repeat and update on demand all of that data. So you've got working with the freshest analysis every single time you run a report. And we knew that this particular product, unlike FIRMSCAPE, which we have a basic product, we have a product with history, so there's levels of FIRMSCAPE, but this product is different because we knew it would require all the data available, both in Leopard List and on our in-house product, and all of the millions of lines of history that we have, that this product had to come fully loaded. So the users could see the attorneys and make all the connections in their head they needed to make easily, while it's all just presented to you, on a plate. That's what I kept saying throughout this whole process. It's like, I don't want them to work. I want to just lay out everything in front of them, like on a beautiful platter at a dinner, right? Here it is. Here's your main course. Here's your dessert. And to do all of that, it required a brand new platform. It required a new language and code that had never been written before, and a new superstructure underneath. So we spent a long time creating the superstructure to go underneath it before we even wrote the very first report. And once we had a really solid foundation and we had blended all of that data into one big pot, that's how we came to Leopard BI. We started from scratch. And we just sort of rethought the whole process of how we service our clients. And that is how we got to our business intelligence program. So once we upgraded that entire structure and started building our analytics, delivering predictions, possible solutions, benchmarking product, business development tools, and we're just getting started back here. Like the M&A tool delivers acquisition targets and gives a report card on mergers before they happen. So there are some of those predictive analytics coming in. If you acquire this firm, this is how successful we think that acquisition is going to be. If you're going to merge with this firm, this is how successful that will be, and here might be your pain points, right? So now we're getting into that predictive analytics. Our firm index report uses ungameable data, not law firm surveys, to deliver a ranking on firms that's delivered in real time, because as the firms change, that ranking changes. So we are delivering solutions, answers, risk assessment, all within a couple of clicks in just a few seconds. Our business development tools, they're unmatched by any other available product because they're loaded with data. Not only do they work in a really cool way and get you what you need, but they're loaded with data that's constantly updated. And they're easy to use and they're easy to comprehend. That was my big goal, right? Everything on a big platter. Here it is. Here's what you need. And these reports can deliver a report, to the C-suite that looks incredibly comprehensive and looks like you took months to compile it. So that's a good secret for all of you guys to know. And before we built that Firmwide Connection tool that I'm going to show you in just a minute, we had to start on a little bit of a smaller level. So we had to start with the Attorney Connection tool and use that as a building block towards the larger model. So when we started looking at this connection tool, there are a lot of questions that we asked, and we sort of looked around to see what was available. And there are other tools where you can find connections, but the question is, are they actually meaningful connections? Or are you connected to someone because you accepted invitations from someone you didn't really know, right? There are also tools out there that sort of offer an empty shell for connections, but they require the law firms and the attorneys to input all of the data that they need to make those connections. And it often fails because they don't do it, or they're just not able to go deep enough, to really find meaningful connections. I mean, do you know where all of your law student friends are working? We probably do. So we blend the data from the Leopard list and Leopard in-house to help attorneys find meaningful contacts for business development. Nobody likes to waste their time, right? So they need to be meaningful contacts. So the first problem that we encountered when we built this tool was we had way too many connections. It was like it would just blow up every time we tried to run it because it was millions of connections. So, and then we said, okay, we're digging in a bit too far. Let's just examine all of the connections that we're looking at. And we began dropping connections from the tool that were really lower in quality because our goal, meaningful connections. And we came up with a framework of what we believe are really meaningful connections, and we ranked them. And we use a point system. So if you only have 20 points, you're in the low category. That connection's a low category. 25 to 50, you're a medium. Over 50, that's a high connection. And you get different kinds of points for multiple connections. And as you can see, when we start looking at the product, we're going to tell you about all of their connection points, just with a simple rollover. So we assign points, and those points add up, and then a story is told every time you roll over to discover how this person is connected, right? So this is that, attorney connection report. We type in an attorney name and we ask to see connections, in the financial industry. Who does this person know in the financial industry? The first one we're looking at is a high connection. So Anne and Lisa, who's over here, had worked in the corporate practice area in the same law firm in DC between 2007 and 2020. That's a meaningful connection. She can pick up that phone. She can give Lisa a call and go, Lisa, how you doing? That's a meaningful connection. Sometimes they have to go through one other person to get to that connection. Sometimes the connection is through their law school. But we know if you went to the same law school, but you didn't graduate the same year, that's a connection, but that's a lower point, right? Than the connection of somebody who was in your same graduating class. That's a little bit of a higher connection. We really tried to think through all of this. And, this type of report, this report is why we loaded the BI suite with all of the attorney data, because we had to have it all to make these connections. You can access every single attorney in our database and every attorney in our in-house program and get their contact information so you are ready to start that important conversation. So this is that attorney level connection tool. And you can drop out connections of past experience. I'll drop Reed Smith out. I'll see all the other connections. You can drop out. I don't care about second level connections. All I want to see are high connections. You can really go in and easily sift through all of these connections without anyone having to add any information. It's all there. It's all calculated for you. So then, before we could get to the firm-wide connection tool, to get to that larger scale, we really thought the next thing we had to develop was going to be the alumni tracker tool. This tracks alumni, to firms, whether they are working in another firm currently, or they're working in an in-house company, or they're working in, government service. Alumni can be a powerful part of your recruiting and retention strategy. It's so important. And we wanted to develop this piece before we did the Firmwide Connection tool, because they're really logical siblings to one another. Because as you'll see when we look at that tool, some of these connections are through their work at their prior firm. Right. So, and those are the same people that would show up in the alumni report. And this was the next logical piece to build before we got to that Firmwide Connection tool, because we knew they would want to isolate the alumni only from all the other connections. So what do you need to make this successful? You need reliable data that is updated on a regular basis. That's number one. And I have to tell you, we one of our team talked with a law firm this week who did a demo of this product, and they wanted to get some sort of little sample. So we sent over, 10 attorneys that we had in the alumni tracker. Well, out of those 10 attorneys, they had them in their CRM and their alumni product, but 8 of them were at the wrong company. So 8 out of 10. All of that data was outdated. So whatever you have in your CRM or in your Salesforce or whatever you're using, it's only as good as the data that's in there. And it is an ongoing task to keep that data updated, right? This is updated every week, twice a week. And as people move from firm to firm, we are going to find more information, and that's going to be presented to you in this alumni tracker. So we like to think of this report as your current contact list of your alumni. Couldn't be easier, right? Instead of going to the laterals by destination report and seeing where these people left, and when they left your firm, where did they go? And then you're doing all the research. We just said, here you go. Here it is on that nice platter. We're going to put it right in front of you. We blend all of the Leopard list data, all of the in-house data to provide the current information on those attorneys. And this product, along with all of our data, is in constant motion. As these attorneys move and they get placed over time, our twice a week updates are going to pick it up, and they're going to put it right in this report just to keep your contact information up to date. And every week there's new information that's flowing in. And I doubt you could say the same of, what's in your Salesforce. So here's a look. I just ran a report on a firm, and in this view, I have excluded the attorneys with inactive status. That means attorneys that have left your firm, but they haven't yet found a new place to go. So you can see them, they're there, but we don't know where they are today. So this is a list. When you exclude those folks, then you get that current contact list. So these are only attorneys that we have current contact information on. If they're inactive in Leopard, that means they haven't yet landed at their new company, but you can still see them. And that inactive status could change next week. But if you're looking for current contact information today, just clicking that button will remove those attorneys that we don't have a current entry for. You can select your firm, you can look for alumni anywhere in the world, or you can restrict it to the US or even a state. You can search by practice, you can select your date range of, I want to see everybody who left since 2012. Maybe you don't care about the others, but it's your choice, whatever you want to search for. And in the results, we show their current type at the company or law firm that they're working in, and the type that they were when they exited your firm. So they may have exited as an associate at your firm. Now they're a general counsel somewhere else, or a partner at a different law firm. And it shows their current location and their contact information. It also shows, the years at your firm. How long did they work for you? Was it 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? So that entry and exit date, gives you that intel. We show their current practice and specialty list. If they're at an in-house company, they show up as well. you know, and we'll be building an API for firms that are interested in importing this attorney data. But right now you can just go and download it and then upload it into your CRM program. And that brings us to what, you know, we're going to show today, because with those two reports in place, we knew that we could do it and we could cover the connections for an entire firm. And we really wanted to do it in a way that makes sense, and in a way that, you know, folks could navigate it very easily. So we had to be able, you know, to assemble thousands and thousands of connections and keep them meaningful. And we also had to deliver results in seconds. And trust me, it wasn't an easy task. And today I'm actually going to demo this live for you, because I think one of the really cool things about it is just how fast it works. It's really kind of mind-boggling. So I've been in here playing around, and I'm gonna show you something that I think is kind of important, and that is, we're not snobs here at Leopard. We have information on all kinds of firms, small firms, mid-sized firms, of course, the, you know, top 200, but we have information on all of them. So even if a small firm can come in here and get some, you know, meaningful results by running this report. This is a small firm. It has connections into different companies. They can go in and see how they're connected to these people, whether they, you know, they worked in the intellectual property practice in Wilmer Hale, which was a former employer in Washington between 2013 and 2010. And that seems like pretty good, right? But but our high connections have a little bit of a higher threshold. I'm going to clear these filters. I can restore them and bring back the same search. I can click back and it's going to take me back to where I was before. And then I can also sort all of these columns to find, you know, the most connections at the top. But now I'm going to go in and I'm going to search a big firm. And we'll explore all of their connections. So they have a lot more attorneys, right? So they have a lot more, they have a lot more results. And I think I'm filtering by some, I'm looking financial industry. Okay, so just looking in the financial industry, I've got connections into all these different areas. If I want to see them all, I can just click here and it will take me to all of those connections. And if I look at the middle section, it's going to tell me how I'm connected. So this is connected by law school. So here, Aaron and Jonathan both went to Virginia. They both, and this is a low connection. Why? Because Aaron graduated in 2006 and Jonathan graduated in 2008. So if I look at a law school with more of a medium connection, then I'm going to see they were in the same class year. If I look at a different law firm connection, then it's going to tell me that Brianna and Jenny worked in the litigation practice area at Lewis Brisbois in Costa Mesa, California between 2019 and 2009. How cool is that? That is very cool. And now I'm going to go back. I'm going to look at, let's do something else. Let's see, consumer goods. And now I've got my consumer goods up here. So all the different, if you're familiar with our in-house database, these are all of the sectors that we have in our in-house database. So, and the reason why we did that was because it's really not that helpful to bring back a million connections. I mean, you can search for all of them, certainly, but I think it's a little better to be able to slice and dice. Of course, you can always come in here too. I'm going to drop this out. And now I'm going to put Apple Inc. Explore connections. Now see at Apple, they've got 6,396 connections. So I would say, you might stick to your high, but if you click on them all, it's going to bring them all back for you. And now I've got them all, but you can also sort by connection strength. You can sort by the attorney name. You can sort by connected by, you can sort by all of these items, but all of these people have some high connections. So here, Andrew and Cameron worked in the corporate practice area in Skadden Arps in LA between 2013 and 2016. Here, Christopher and Nicole worked in the litigation practice area in WilmerHale in Washington between 2012 and 2015. It's really super cool. So if they have a high connection, they should be able just to pick up the phone and give Nicole a call and say, how you doing? We haven't seen each other in a while. You can also manipulate this. You can drop out low connections, medium connections. You can take out some past experience, but all of it is just to help you find who at your firm has the best shot of getting business at Apple. Is it through, now remember we just did the alumni report, right? So these people from Skadden are related through Skadden to these people. That means these are all your alumni. Skadden. These folks are all your alumni. They would be in your alumni report. But what this does for you is help you to narrow the field. You can send them a generic email and go, hey, it's Skadden and we're having a big party. We want you to come and we want you to be a part of that. Or you could say, wow, yeah, Carl and Christy worked together during this year. Maybe Carl could send her a personal note and say, please come by and join us. We're having a special event or whatever it is. It gives more of that personal touch, right? This is all about business development. And the more personal the touch, the better it is. And we can help deliver the information to you that can help you decide who's the best person to tap to go try and get that business at Apple. These folks are all, of course, in our in-house database. We have their LinkedIn profile right here. We've got their phone number. And their email address is connected to their name. Wherever you see their name is in blue, that means you've got their email address ready to go. So we also can look at it just from a different point of view. So if I want to know everybody that has connections into Apple, all I have to do is drop in the corporation here and then start shopping, right? So here I've got a lot of people at these firms that have connections into Apple. A lot of them do. And then you're going to get into smaller firms, mid-sized firms. This might be really good from a recruiting perspective too, because you can begin to see, who is where that might help you get into Apple. You also can, if you're a recruiter and you are pitching someone to a law firm, run their name through that attorney connection report. And if they're trying to get more business within the energy industry and you've got an attorney that has lots of connections there, that could really be a help to get that person in the door and get an interview. There's lots of different ways to look at this data. And we're going to be talking to all of you to see how you use it and what else you might find, helpful in the report. I mean, we just added this. We wanted some of the numbers to make sense, right? So there are 32 distinct attorneys in Glacier Weil Fink that are connected to 85 distinct contacts in Apple. Because as you can see here, one person can have multiple contacts, right? So Alexandra has many connections in, Elsa has many connections in, so she has some through a past experience, she has some through a law school. So that's why we're giving you that heads up about what's there. We are super excited about this report. And we have another version of the connection report coming out very soon. And that's going to be with more of a recruitment focus in mind. So right now you've got two of these super reports. You have it on an attorney level, and now you've got a major firm-wide connection report that should be an extremely powerful business development tool for you.
And I think you hit it right on the head there, Laura. I think the real value is if I'm like a BD person at a firm and I support a specific practice area or a specific industry group, because a lot of the BDs the BDMs at a lot of these firms are either embedded within specific practice areas or specific industry groups. They can just come here, plug in their firm, plug in the industry or practice area they're looking at, and then you get just a laundry list of all the folks that are just, the low hanging fruit, the ones that you pick up the phone, you go talk to the attorneys that are better BD, folks themselves. Talk to the ones that aren't as good, right? Those are the ones that you maybe need a little more help. And hey, this is a person you have it looks like you should have a great relationship with. It's a great opportunity for us to open the door. And then I think the other aspect of what you just showed by looking at it from the company perspective and then back to which firms, if I'm a firm and I have that as a client, it opens up my eyes to see that there's a lot of potential competition out there that I wouldn't even think about that could be in play here because they have strong relationships or potential relationships with a current client of mine. So there's a lot of competitive intelligence and potential view into it from that perspective as well. So it can really touch on a lot of different aspects for the law firm side.
Yeah. And then, as we learn more,
Yeah.
we'll be able to do more.
That's
So the more they need or the more information that they need, we'll be able to deliver it. But our goal was, to tell the story, right? To tell the story of each connection. And that's why all of that rollover information is so important. How close are they? And you can begin to determine who at your firm would be the best prospect to go get that business.
Absolutely. And again, we look forward to getting everyone's feedback. I mean, the Firmwide Connection Report came out basically because when we started demoing the regular connection report, we got some feedback that it'd be great if we can do, organization to organization, and that's where we are now, and we're certainly, certainly gonna tweak and go as we talk to our clients, which they have a wealth of a lot of great information to provide us, and we hope to provide them back the value that we continuously do. So we look forward to having those conversations.
Yeah. Are there any questions?
Don't see any in the chat or anything, so it looks pretty straightforward. As I mentioned, we did record this. We will share it back with the registrants, and if anyone does have any questions or comments, feedback, don't hesitate to reach out to us.
All right, great.
Thanks, Laura.
Everybody. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.